Sharon is the court recorder that we have for us for tonight's meeting.
Yep. You
Okay.
introduced yourself.
Hi there. Nice to see you.
Very good.
Welcome.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is 6 o'clock, so we will call the special meeting to order. If everyone would please rise wherever you're at for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, very good. If we could have roll call, please.
Certainly. Councilpersons Dupre. Here. Higgins.
Here.
Kelsey.
Here.
Ross. Here. Salcido.
Here.
Oben.
Here.
Ian Mayor Cards.
Here. Okay, the purpose of today's meeting is to hold a public hearing for the proposed sanitary sewer improvement program. I'm going to call that public hearing to order at 6:01. And we have Jim Hollingsworth from Hennessy Engineers. I think, Jim, you're kicking things off, or is John?
Yes, I will be doing that.
Okay,
Yes,
then you have the floor, sir. Proceed.
Great. Is there a way to share the screen? We can already share our screen, Terry?
James can.
Yeah, I'm getting you set up. I just made you a co-host. You should be able to share now.
Okay, cool. Thank you, James. So you got give us 1 second here and we'll get everything going. Very good. Can everyone see the screen?
I can.
Yes.
Very good, very good. Thank you. So today we're having a public hearing for the SRF sanitary sewer project plan, which is outlining the proposed SRF sewer rehabilitation and pump station projects. So presenting tonight will be myself, James Hollingsworth from Hennessy Engineers, as well as Doug Dunn from Fishbeck. And we'll be going through the whole project. So an outline of the presentation, we're going to list the sewer improvements that were completed since 2012. We'll do an overview of the S2 and SAW grant program, results of the SAW grant program, proposed sanitary sewer improvements for the CIPP 2022 to 2027 program, is potential alternates for the sewer system improvements. We'll do a summary of the costs, social and economic benefits or impacts, as well as the submittal of the SRF project plan and the next steps associated with that. So we can go into the next. So an overview, so the city received S2 grant in 2012 for $1 million. And as part of that grant, we cleaned and televised approximately 80,000 feet of sanitary sewer. We inspected hundreds of manholes, smoke tested the 80,000 feet of sewer, and then Fishbeck provided the flow monitoring for the sewer system. Oh, and in 2016, the city received a SAW grant for $2 million, and 90% of the first $1 million was funded through EGLE, and then the second $2 million, 75% of that was funded through EGLE. And we submitted the final project, the SAW grant, to EGLE in December of 2019. So the SAW grant helped the city complete cleaning and televising of the city's sanitary sewer system. We did manhole inspections. We did smoke testing of the sanitary sewer system to identify I&I issues. And then we did flow monitoring, and from that flow monitoring, we were able to create a system model. And then we also created an asset management plan for the sanitary sewer system the retention basin, and the pump stations. And again, that was a teamwork effort with Hennessy Engineers and Fishbeck. We also created we started to create the GIS system for the sanitary sewer system. We worked with Plant Moran on establishing the rate analysis for the system. And then we developed a 20-year CIP program for the sanitary sewer system. On this slide, it shows you all the work that that the city has performed on the sanitary sewer system since 2012. We cleaned and televised approximately 250,000 feet of sewer. We lined approximately 70,000 feet of sewer. And the total in sewer improvements that we have done since 2012 has been about just a little over $8 million worth of work. The next one. The purpose of the SAW grant, as stated earlier, is to create an asset management plan and develop and identify CIP needs for the next 20 years. This SRF program helps, the program we're presenting tonight will address the first 5 years of the program, and it will help identify sanitary sewer defects, I&I issues, capacity issues in the sewer systems, and it'll develop a better means of keeping records for the sanitary sewer system. The project team consists of John Kazoo, the Department of Public Service Director, and his staff. From Hennessy Engineers, it's myself, James Hollingsworth, Tiffany Newbig, Cal Hanna, and various other construction staff. From Fishbeck, we had Jeff Brown, Doug Dunn, and Caitlin Winicki. And Caitlin is the one that did the flow monitoring, and she's a water and wastewater engineer that developed a model for our system. And she did a great job on that. This map identifies the crosshatch area in red was the work we did as part of the SAW grant, and the areas in green was so the SAW grant was that $2 million grant, and the area in green was the work we did with the S2 program. So so those were the two loans that are not loans, but the grants we received from Eagle in order to study our system. So, an overview of the system. The Lincoln Park sanitary sewer system is a separated system, which means the storm sewer is a separate system from the sanitary sewer system. So the wastewater is collected in the sanitary sewer system, and it's treated at the Downriver Utility Authority wastewater treatment plant, which is also known as DUA. As part of the Lincoln Park system, Gallon Park has 2 connections into the city system. We have 9 pump stations / lift stations. We have 4 controlled outlets into the Wayne County interceptor system. And Lincoln Park is limited at each of the 4 locations with either a vortex valve, which limits the sewer capacity, or it's controlled by a weir. So we do have control systems that monitor how much water can be put into the sanitary sewer system at the interceptor for Wayne County at one time. So in this photo, you can see that what we observe when we do the cleaning and televising of the sewer system. These are some examples of the City of Lincoln Park sewer system. And as you can see, the pipes have reached their useful life, and we have broken pipes, we have oblong pipes, the system needs some rehabilitation. So that's what this program's all about, it's a loan to help us fix these issues. So as you can see from that, The sanitary sewer cleaning and televising, it shows the sewer system's defects, like cracked pipes, leaking pipes. It shows where we have excess I&I. It shows where we have broken pipes as well. As part of the grant too, which is like, we did manhole inspections. So what we do is we look at the manholes, we determine areas of where they might have high infiltration or inflow. And that's when I use the term I&I, that would be infiltration and inflow. And infiltration is what comes in through the ground, basically. Inflow is a direct connection. Say if we had a catch basin tied into the sanitary sewer system, that gets in there really quick. So that would be an inflow. It comes in really fast. The infiltration kind of seeps in. We get a rain event, the water goes, the rainwater goes to the groundwater, and then it ends up seeping into the system. So also as part of the SRF, or the SAW grant and S2 grant, we did smoke testing. The smoke testing helps us identify, where you can see in that upper picture, it looks like a catch basin is tied into the sanitary sewer system. So as we apply smoke into the sanitary sewer system, it finds the easiest means of exiting the system, which is catch basins, could be broken manhole covers, cleanouts that are broken, and that's part of this whole, that was part of the whole grant program to help us identify these issues so we can repair them and reduce the I&I going into the system. As I said before, Fishbeck did the flow monitoring and the system modeling. So they put flow meters into the system at various locations that we thought were critical locations. We keep the meters in the system for a minimum of 6 months, and what it does, it'll collect data on a 15-minute interval, and we use that data, especially in the rain events, to determine areas where we're finding excess I&I, where, you know, say in a dry weather flow, you may get 1,000 gallons coming through. You get a rain event, and all of a sudden now we have 5,000 gallons coming through. So that's what the modeling does. And then as part of that, Hennessy collected all the survey data, so we shot the manhole rims and inverts, which created data so that Fishbeck could finish the model for us. So during flow events, we find a drastic, or during rain events, we find drastic increase in the sewer flows in the system, which again attributes to the I&I of the system. From that, we identify the possible defects. We identify pipe cracks, leaks, failed or missing bulkheads in the storm sewer system, wrong manhole covers, and illicit connections where a storm sewer or a downspout might be connected into the sewer system, which attributes to excess I&I. As part of the flow monitoring, we also found that the Emmons pump station and the retention basin are undersized for the storm events that we're seeing. So it's very important that we reduce the I&I so that we can eliminate any sanitary sewer overflows, which will come up in, I think, this next slide. So in April 8th of 2020, John Kazoo received a violation notice from Eagle stating that we have too many overflows out of the retention basin. So basically, the water goes into the Wayne County, the sanitary sewer flows goes into the Wayne County interceptor. When we get the rain events and the high flows, the excess flows will go into the retention basin. The retention basin is a 20.5 million gallon basin. When we get to the 20.5 million gallons, the retention basin will overflow into the E-course creek. And you can see in this table, those are some of the violations we had. Some were easily explainable, but some weren't. So basically, Eagle came back to us and said, we feel that you have excess outfalls or sanitary sewer overflows, and you need to do something to reduce that. So that's what really stemmed this SRF project. So as part of the project, the SRF loan is going to be for approximately $15.5 million for improvements to the sanitary sewer system, which includes an asset management collection system, retention basin improvements, the Lincoln and pump stations will be, we'll have improvements done to those as well as rehabilitation. And we'll be doing full length and sectional sewer lining as part of this program. The areas in this map in yellow are the areas where the sewer lining will be taking place on this project this year. So these are all areas that we've already identified through the SAW grant that have excess I&I defects and all that. So we will be preparing, as part of the SRF loan, we'll be preparing plans and specs to line these areas in yellow. The area in green is areas that we're going to be studying as part of this SRF project plan. So this is a map that basically shows some of the assets that the city has. It shows where the pump stations are located, where the retention basin's located, and it just helps identify important features in the sanitary sewer system. So part of the sanitary sewer improvements, so we're going to create an asset management plan, and as part of that, we're going to investigate about 75,000 feet of sanitary sewer. We're going to determine areas of defects and excess I&I. Then the estimated cost for the study area is going to be about $2.5 million. We will also be doing work on the retention basin, and the cost of that will be approximately $2.3 million worth of work. As I stated, Fishbeck will be working on the rehabilitation for the sanitary sewer pump stations, which will be the Lincoln and Emmons pump stations. And these pump stations are stations that we use especially during rain events. So when the sewer exceeds its capacity, and the system exceeds its capacity, these pump stations are what pumps the excess water into the retention basin. So it's critical that these are updated and operate correctly, because if they do fail, that could cause potential basement flooding. So the cost of these two pump stations to be rehabbed is approximately $8.1 million. The sewer rehabilitation, we'll be doing approximately 28,500 feet of sewer lining. We'll have approximately 75 sectional liners. We'll reinstate about 825 sewer leads at a cost of about $2.5 million. As part of the SRF program, we have to look at alternates to show what's the most cost-effective way to handle the rehabilitation of the system. So the alternates we look at are, one would be a no option, another one would be rehabilitation of the sewer system, and a third one would be to remove all the old sewer and replace it. In this photo, you can kind of see, we talk about sewer lining. This gives you an example. So you can see that there's like a clay sanitary sewer pipe. And then what we do is we insert the new liner in there. The new liner will be a structural liner, which will have the same strength as the original sewer. So once we put that in there, it's like a brand new sewer. It'll have probably a life expectancy of 50 years. So So again, as we talk about the alternatives, the no action is really not an option, but we have to state that as part of the sewer, the SRF plan. Because no option obviously means we're not going to fix the sewers that are defective, we're not going to eliminate the I&I, and the I&I is what contributes to basement flooding and the rest. So no option is not really a way to go with it. So as one of the options we looked at was the rehabilitation process, which is the most economical process. It helps eliminate the excess flows. We repair all the sewer defects and bring the sewer up to a brand new sewer. It extends the life expectancy of the sewer. It's the rehabilitation system is a less disruptive and cost-effective way of doing the project. If you look at rehabilitation, we'll spend approximately $2.5 million in the rehabilitation part of it, versus about $11 million if we had to remove and replace all the sewers, not to mention all the disruption that causes in people's yards. The next option would be, or as part of the sewer project, the SRF loan, the total cost of the loan is going to be approximately $15.5 million. The cost is going to include design and construction, management costs. The SRF loan is a low-interest loan. Right now, the loan is approximately 1.875%, which is very low. The average cost of the cost of the average for the average homeowner is about $5 per month, or about $60 a year. And other sources of funding for this project will be water and sewer funds, and we've used CDBG funds on the sewers as well. At this time, I'm going to have Doug Dunn from Fishbeck discuss some of the rehabilitation work we're going to do to the sanitary sewer pump stations, the Emmons and the Lincoln pump station. If you want to take it away, Doug?
Sure. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Hi, I'm Doug Dunn with Fishbeck, Senior Water Wastewater Engineer. And as Jim mentioned, Fishbeck's been working with Hennessy and the city for a very long time on this. And our sewer crew put figures in the system and actually monitored the real-life conditions that are occurring in the sewers as the rain events happen. And that information went back into a computer model. And from that data, they were able to determine that the pumps at these two stations are not producing the volume that they're intended to be producing. Jim had the plaque up there on the first slide. And the Lincoln pump station, as it sits today, this plaque says 1922. That was the original station that was there, and what you see today was added onto that station in 1953. And the similar situation exists at the Emmons pump station. A small original station was built, and then in 1955 it was expanded upon. Well, I went out as part of the asset management work, and I visited all 9 of your pump stations, particularly looking at these 2, did a little research with the pump manufacturers, and was able to determine that the pumps that are in place today are the original pumps that were installed in the 1950s. So they're very inefficient, very old pumps, and it does make a lot of sense that they're not producing the amount of flow that they should. So we looked into it, and as Jim had mentioned, the program requires looking at 3 alternatives. So the first alternative that we looked at for both stations was to build brand new pump stations at a different location. And as you know, Lincoln Park is pretty much built out. So the nearest location, there's a public park nearby both stations. So we looked at building new pump stations in those parks, which would require extensive extending sewers from the existing pump stations to those new locations and then demolishing the existing pump stations. And that priced out at $11 million for Emmons and $14 million for Lincoln Pump Station. So significantly more than what we are looking at for the renovation work. The second alternative that we looked at would be to knock down the buildings that are on site today and build new pump stations in the exact same place, which can be done through bypass pumping around the stations during construction. That price came out at $12 million. Again, significant more cost than the renovation work that is being proposed. So what is actually being proposed is to come in and replace all of the pumps that are in the building today with newer, high-efficiency motors, essentially brand new, able to convey the correct amount of flow for the given conditions. We are looking at a building addition onto the side of the building for the new electrical work. If you ever get the opportunity to go into these stations, steer clear of the electrical work. It was installed in the 1920s, and I am not an electrical person, but I consider it a very unsafe situation that exists in both of those buildings. So that's the main thing, is to make this a safer workplace for John's people as they go in there on a daily basis to check it out. There'll be minor tuck pointing on the outside of the building because for the most part those buildings are intact and in good shape. But basically we're giving it an operational upgrade and setting it up so that all the flows can get down to the basin. Jim, back to you.
Thank you. So, again, for the SRF part of the project plan, we have to look at social and environmental impacts that the projects will have on the city. And some of the positive impacts are obviously if we reduce the I&I in the system, we're going to reduce basement backups. We'll reduce sewer surcharging. We'll reduce I&I coming into the system. We'll extend the useful life of the sanitary sewer systems. And some of the negative impacts you would see, like with any construction, you're going to have noise. You'll have possible temporary lane closures during some of the sewer lining projects. We'll have temporary loss of sewer services, just while they're lining it. We've gone through this already. We've lined thousands and thousands of feet. I forget what I said earlier in the presentation, but you know, so this has already been going on in the city, so we're pretty well used to having the sewer lining projects. And then general construction and dust are also always impacts, environmental impacts during construction. So, and then the next steps for the sanitary sewer project plan will be the city will have to pass a resolution at the May 17th meeting adopting the project plan. And then what we will do is we will submit that to Eagle. The project plan is due by June 1st to Eagle in order to meet the grant deadlines or the sewer loan deadlines. And then from there, we expect Eagle, what they do is they get all the sewers, all the projects that are submitted. They'll rate each of the projects as a priority. Lincoln Park's going to be a high priority because we've already been issued a notice of violation from Eagle. So, and as we know that project plans or the initial project plans that were submitted, or the letter of intent, I guess you would say, to do a project, we know that there's more more money in the sanitary sewer SRF program than there are projects that have been submitted. So there's no doubt in my mind that Lincoln Park will get the SRF loan and will be able to move forward. We'll know probably in August or September of this year if we have the loan in that. And then from there we determine, we work with, we look at how long it'll take to do the plans and specs, and then we we ask Eagle, or we ask them or tell them what year or what quarter we would like to do the project. So there's 4 quarters that they do it, and this project will probably be looking at the 3rd or 4th quarter of 2022. So with that, that kind of gives you an outline of the SRF program, what we're looking to do, and where we're going from here. So with that, I'm open to any questions you may have on the SRF loan or the system.
Okay, we'll start with comments from, or questions from council.
Through the chair.
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Hollingsworth, is that a fixed rate loan?
Yes, that will be a fixed rate loan, and Eagle will determine the amount. It's usually, in the past, it's always been 2% or less, so we're expecting it to be somewhere in that area. Last we checked, it was the 1.875%. And that'll be fixed for the 20 years.
Okay. Can I also ask you, I know you touched on the sewer lining having a 50-year life expectancy. That's a long time. Are they warranted, though, the work for any length of time?
No, the warranty that we get is our standard maintenance and guarantee bonds, which will be for a 2-year period. But what we do is they'll line the sewer, and then, so they'll videotape the sewer prior to lining it, then they'll videotape it after lining it too. So we'll be able to determine exactly, make sure that the lining, all the lining work correctly, and that everything is sound. So I can tell you that we've probably been doing this, well, I know we started a project in Riverview and it was in 1995, and to my knowledge, Riverview has not had one failure in any of the lining projects so far. And that seems to be what the data is. I mean, they won't tell you for sure a 50-year guarantee, but, based on what we're seeing, that's what we're anticipating.
Well, how old are our sewers right now?
Oh, they probably, a lot of them, like you saw, the pump stations were installed in the 1920s. So some of the sewers go all the way back to the 1920s, which now is 100 years old. So you have sewers that range from 100 years old to the sewers that we've done the lining on recently that are going to be like brand new sewers.
Okay. Could you also just touch a little bit more and explain when you said that we would have temporary loss of sewer services? What exactly does that mean to me?
It actually has probably no impact to you for the most part. What happens is when we put a sewer lining in, and what we do is we hand out notices to all the residents when we're going to do the sewer lining. And what happens is they line the sewer, and what it is, it's like a big sock that goes inside of the sewer. Then they treat it with water, they heat it up, and then the resins in the material harden to a hardened plastic. So it takes, depending on what process we use, probably 6 to 8 hours for it to harden. During that 6 to 8 hours, we ask the residents, do not use do not flush the toilets, do not use water, because until the pipe's cured, we can't open the services back up. Once the pipe's cured, they send a robot in there, and the robot So before they do it, like I said, we'll videotape the sewers. So we'll find out exactly where all the residents' sewer leads are. And then they'll send a robot in, and that robot will cut out sections of the pipe wherever the people have their sewer connections, and that opens it back up, and then the sewer flows back normally.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments from council?
Yeah, through the chair, if I may, Your Honor.
Yes, go ahead.
The cost factor, I think you batted around a couple cost figures, Jim. One was that it'll probably, for the 15.5 million, it probably would cost the resident about $5 a month, $60 a year. Is that including when we raise the sewer fee and the sanitary fee or not? Do you know how that, or does anybody know how that's going to be paid for? Because that's,
This part of it is what we'll be working with Plant Moran on. So what we did is we did the 20-year capital improvement plan. So what Plant Moran did was looked at the sewer system part of it, and then they created a rate structure. So part of this is already included in that rate structure. So when you say they're going to, when Plant Moran gave their recommended increases in sewer fees, this is already included in it. That is correct. So this will not be above and beyond what you saw in the Plant Moran report.
okay, so the Plant Moran report suggesting what the cost increase would be to the sewer and the water fund and all that would take care of this particular project.
That is correct.
Next question I got is for the retention basin. We talked about it not being able to handle all the capacity that goes to it because of the overflows. And then you talked about the sensors, that the vortex valves and the weir valves and sensors that were put in to the system. And we talked about this at the DPS meeting. Have we got enough information to go back to DUA to indicate what the actual over discharge is actually going through Lincoln Park yet? And we have got those figures based upon what the company's been doing and collecting all this data?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I want to say, and John may know the time frame a little better than I do, I would say about a year and a half ago, what was happening is, in the past, when DUA was operated by Wayne County kept telling us that it was our issue, we're surcharging the sewer system and the interceptor. And what Fishbeck was able to do with their flow monitoring was able to show them that no, that is not the case, that no, we are not, we're not the cause of the surcharge of the sanitary sewer system. Our vortex valves are working properly. Our control weir is working properly. So we are not putting excess flows during a rain event into the interceptor. What we do though is we do put them in the retention basin, which when the rain event stops and the interceptor is not surcharged, we're allowed to put the water from the retention basin back into the interceptor. So there's where, I'm not saying we don't exceed our capacity ultimately to the plant. What we're saying is we're not the cause of the surcharge of the system. We're putting our flows in at a later date.
Okay, because there was a cost factor around the bill that we get from DUA that charges us for a massive amount of overflow dollars. That's what I was asking. I know we had gone through this investigative process, and I don't know if it's been, I think it has not been resolved yet, but that's a big part of this puzzle because we're spending all this money, and part of it was to put those sensors in to figure out where the excess of flow is going. So that's what I was asking, so.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I got, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, sir. Anyone else have comments, questions?
Mayor, if I could ask a question of Fishbeck, Mr. Dunn.
Sure.
Dunn,
John?
for both of the base or pump stations, Emmons and Lincoln, is there anything inclusive on updating or removing those fuel tanks that are starting to become problematic because of age?
Currently, yes, the intention is to remove those underground storage tanks. I know Jim forwarded a question to us from Eagle, where Eagle is questioning the need for that work to be included in the project. The response that I gave to Jim was that both stations are equipped with standby generators, which require diesel fuel to operate, and they must have those generators. The generators must be functional, and that the state of Michigan has notified the city of Lincoln Park that action must be taken regarding the underground storage tanks. Therefore, the work has been included in the project, and it is necessary to be part of the project. I don't know that Jim, I just gave that answer to Jim earlier. I think it was Friday I sent that to him, so I don't know if he has sent that on to Eagle yet or not. So.
Thank you.
Just to respond to that real quick, not yet, because what I wanted to do is have this public meeting, and then anything else that we might need to address with Eagle, I wanted to address all in one correspondence. So
Would
that
that
will
make
be addressed, yes. Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome.
Okay, is there anything else from council? I'm not hearing anything, so we'll open it up for public comments.
I had a comment, sir.
Oh.
I was muted. I'm just curious, if we do rebuild the pump stations, is that cost already figured into this program, or is that cost above what we're doing?
It's included. The cost for the work that's proposed at the pump stations is included. Jim mentioned $8 million approximately, which is about, it's $4 million plus for each station.
Okay. Thank you.
All right then. Anything further from council? Then we'll go into public comments. James, do we have any citizens on the call?
I do not see any.
All right, then we will then adjourn the public hearing at, looks like 6:42, and then we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, clerk call the roll.
Alderperson Salcido,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes, so we want to thank everybody that put this together for us and the work that's been done. Obviously, Hennessy, Mr. Fishbeck, and John, you're part of all this too. So with that, we will adjourn at 6:43.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.